years, we've been playing around the edges of this problem. Different rebate programs, different gimmicks, when in the end, we know something that's absolutely undeniable. The only way to have property taxes be abated is to not spend as much. I mean, there's just no other magic bullet to it. You have to spend less. And so as we looked at this problem after I became governor nearly 2 years ago now, we decided there were a few steps we needed to take that were concrete. First, we needed to tell government you couldn't have as much money as you used to have. And before, what a lot of municipalities and some counties were used to was, you know, whatever they wanted to spend, they spent, and they sent the bill to the taxpayers. And we had 70% increase in property taxes over 10 years before I became governor under both Republican and Democratic administrations. And so first thing we said is let's put a cap on property taxes, no more than a 2% increase. Now, that took a lot of negotiation. You all may remember us staying past the June 30th budget deadline in 2010, me calling the legislature back into session a number of days in a row to reach an agreement. And it wasn't everything I wanted because it excluded pension and health benefits out of the cap. And so next we had to move to how these salaries got increased across the state of New Jersey. And typically, what I'd hear from mayors and from county executives was that the interest arbitration system led to runaway awards and salaries that simply had to be paid. And because they had to be paid, property taxes would continue to go up. So at the end of 2010, we negotiated and signed into law landmark cap of 2% to match the 2% property tax cap on interest arbitration awards, on any interest arbitration awards. That was a significant assist. We also made some other of the changes that we recommended in our toolkit of reforms that went along with that. There's still more that needs to be done in that regard. You may have seen the story this past week of a municipal employee getting paid over $600,000 in sick leave on his way out the door. I've had sick leave legislation sitting in front of the state legislature for over a year now, which says zero, no more new accrual of sick leave payout money. We can't take away the money that people have already earned. But going forward, it shouldn't be $7,500 a year or $15,000 as the folks in the legislature have suggested. It should be zero. Your benefit for not being sick is not being sick. And it shouldn't be that you get paid for not being sick. I mean, this isn't happening anywhere else in the world of private industry, but it's happening here in government. But then this past year, we were able to negotiate really sweeping pension and benefit reforms. I told municipal officials and county officials when we put the cap in place that we would also deal with pension and benefit reform. And because of the bipartisan work that I did with Senate President Sweeney and Speaker Oliver, we were able to put forward pension and benefit reform. And we told folks that they were going to save a significant amount of money over a long period of time because of this. Well, the first benefit has now come in for municipalities. $267 million this year in savings for local governments is the equivalent to a 20% increase in municipal aid. So I want everybody to remember this. That's equivalent to a 20% increase in municipal aid by saving $267 million of payments they otherwise would have been legally obligated to make this spring. They don't have to make those payments now. Paramus, right here, and I see my friend Kathy here, Paramus is going to save nearly $1 million, $933,000 this year from pension reforms, with additional savings on the horizon as health benefit reforms are implemented. And this year, $70 million will be saved from the health benefit reforms we've made, and that is just a small down payment of what's going to happen as this is phased in over the next 4 years. $70 million. So now you're talking about nearly $340 million in direct savings to municipalities and counties across the state because Republicans and Democrats had the courage to finally do something meaningful regarding property taxes. This all, by the way, is happening while we're making the pension fund more solvent, because we didn't just say don't make the payments. We're also having increased payments being made by the individual employees. We're also extending the time before you can retire. We're also taking away COLAs, which we simply can't afford because the funds are insolvent. And so these are things that are going to really inure to the benefit of taxpayers across New Jersey. And when they asked me during the campaign, how are you going to deal with property taxes? And I said at the time that we were going to go in there. It was not one silver bullet. I was not going to come out with some plan once again to show people, don't worry, we're going to do it this way, and have people be disillusioned. We were going to take our time, and we were going to look at it carefully, and we were going to make responsible decisions and difficult political choices. We've done all those things. So now with the 2% cap in effect, the arbitration award cap in effect, stable municipal aid, increased education aid, and significant savings from pension and health benefit reforms, the building blocks of real long-term property tax reform are finally in place.